Avery Johnson, according to Pro Football Focus and our guy Parker Eves as well on the Discord, is over his last 4 games, Curry, the top quarterback in the Big 12 in passes of over 20 yards or more from a passer rating standpoint, yards per attempt standpoint, etc. Avery Johnson has gotten so much better at the deep ball and these vertical throws. Hello and welcome to another 3-Mile Pod. I'm your host, Cole Manbeck, and I'm joined by former Kansas State wide receiver and partner at Wildcat NIL, Curry Sexton, to recap Kansas State extending the streak over KU to 17 games in dominating fashion, which, by the way, according to Ryan Lackey in the Kansas State Sports Information Department, the Wildcats' 17-game winning streak is the longest against any one team in an uninterrupted series in the FBS. Saturday's performance called for a toast from our friends, of course, over at Holiday Distillery. We know the great K-Staters at Holiday were fired up over Saturday's result. Even got a picture from our guy Wyatt from Holiday, who was at the game donning his purple. I had a couple pours of Holiday Distillery's Ben Holiday bottled and bond bourbon Saturday as well. I hope many of you did too. But guess what? If you did not, you're going to get the chance to have some this Saturday in Manhattan. We have our annual Holiday Distillery tailgate game, a collaboration between 3MAW, KC Sports Network, and Holiday. Is this weekend against number 13 ranked Texas Tech. Kickoff is at 2:30. Come by the tailgate just before noon. Hang out with us until around 2 p.m. There's going to be plenty of drinks, snacks, and more. This will be the 4th year of us doing this tailgate. Continues to grow every year. Come over to spot 778 on the west side. That's spot 778. It's toward the north end of the west parking lot, not too far from the Veneer Complex lot. Same spot we've been at every year for those of you that have been to it. And if you can't make it to the tailgate, be sure to pick up some Ben Holiday bottled and bond bourbon for your own gathering. It's available throughout the country. If your local liquor store doesn't have it, for whatever reason, tell them to pick some up. Curry, we already got your immediate thoughts on the game after Saturday when you jumped on the live post game with John, DY, and I. So, look, we're going to jump right into the all-22 footage, which for those of you who don't subscribe to the show, we break down about 10 to 15 plays every week with Curry using all 22 film, get his tremendous insight. So if you're not subscribed to the channel, please do so and tell your friends about the show. So Curry, we're going to jump right in to play number 1 here, which is our play of the game brought to you by Elenco, the home remodeler of choice throughout Northeast Kansas, the Kansas City metro area, and Western Missouri. Elenco has all your home improvement needs, from bathroom remodels featuring the Kohler Luxstone shower system, new siding, doors, premium window replacements, and much more. Go to elencohome.com or give them a call if you're interested in exploring a project for your home. Elenco, owned by a great K-State family, so you not only get 5-star service, but support a family of Wildcats in doing so. Curry, I debated making the Jace Brown 78-yard touchdown to essentially ice away the game this play, but I want to highlight this beautiful throw by Avery Johnson to Jerron Tibbs to put K-State up 21-7 in the first quarter. I know you had some thoughts on the route combination here and how well K-State executed this when you were watching it live. How do you assess this play?
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously an incredible throw, as you mentioned, but I think what I like the most about it, I mean, you're essentially running a double post concept into a 3-high look, into a 3-shell look. And we've talked about this multiple times throughout this season, about, hey, on a double post concept, if you're that inside post route, you've got to grab the toes. You've got to step on the toes of that safety, that second, or that near safety, to draw his attention away from that outside post route. And I mentioned to you right after this play during the game that Garrett Oakley did an excellent job here. And so want to pinpoint him here. Watch him get all the way up on that DB's toes. He honestly makes the DB almost slip and fall, which gives Jerron just enough space to get open behind that outside third defender. And so it's an excellent job by Garrett. It's an excellent route by Jerron, who also pushes vertical and steps on the toes of that outside third corner. And then the throw is just spectacular, right? I mean, this was an absolute laser, layered over 2 defenders to where only his guy could run under it and catch it. Excellent throw, excellent catch. I mean, great job by Jerron Tibbs tracking this football over his outside shoulder. It's just an excellent play all the way around.
Yeah, absolutely gorgeous throw by Avery Johnson. It was locked in on Saturday. The 217.7 passer rating, Curry, was the best of Avery Johnson's college football career. And now over his last 4 games, 8.3 yards per pass attempt, completing over 65% of his throws, 941 yards through the air, 9 touchdowns, 1 interception. He continues to get better and better. All right, Nick, we're ready for the next play when you are. All right, well, look, I think this one's pretty simple. You call it the Jace Brown play, right, Curry? K-State has onto this several times throughout the last couple of years. You recall they did this against Houston last year. They did it against Baylor this year. They did it against Colorado last year, now against Kansas. And Curry, I think it works 90% of the time. They just throw it up when Jace is in press coverage with the corner lined up with no safety help. Beautiful throw. I mean, could not have hit him in a better spot right in stride, but Jace obviously gets separation here from the snap and a 78-yard touchdown to essentially put this game away.
Yeah, I mean, this is just exactly what you want to see from your best players in a man-to-man situation. We've been talking about this throughout the year, begging for more, for more commitment to giving Jace Brown the football in single coverage situations. And so they did a good job of identifying something on the sideline. I think Coach Wells talked about it, or somebody talked about it in the post game, where they said, hey, if Jace gets singled up, we're going to him, which is what you should do, right? I mean, very few defenses have shown an ability to guard Jace one-on-one. And so love that, after KU cuts the lead to 11 in the fourth quarter, we decide on the first play from scrimmage on our next series that we're gonna dial up a home run ball and try to put the game away for good. And so it's great recognition both off the field and then pre-snap. And it's just you see there that Jace doesn't run any sort of spectacular route. Nice patient release. He gets the defender guessing a little bit. The defender gets on his back hip and it's over with. And Avery makes an incredible throw, right? He puts it out in front of Jace where Jace can run under it and keep his stride going so he can get all the way into the end zone. I think you look back at the Baylor game late in that game when Jace gets his helmet ripped off on our second to last series. If Avery makes a similar throw in that situation, Jace walks in for a touchdown, doesn't get his helmet ripped off, walks in for a touchdown. And so I think you see the importance of leading your guy a little bit, letting him run under the football. And that's exactly what Avery did here. I think the reason why, you love seeing Jace Brown in single coverage is not only is he a really, really solid, a really, really great receiver with the ability to separate from defenders, but if you're in a single coverage situation like that and you're running a vertical route, there is the defensive back is in an absolute no-win situation, because if you get burnt like you did there, it's 6. If you get burnt but it's underthrown, like maybe we saw against Baylor or we've seen it other times this year, it's a pass interference, or you're giving up a big play that isn't 6. But it's a no-win situation for them, and so love to see us committing to getting Jace Brown the football when he's singled out.
Avery Johnson, according to Pro Football Focus, and our guy Parker Eves as well on the Discord, is over his last 4 games, Curry, the top quarterback in the Big 12 in passes of over 20 yards or more from a passer rating standpoint, yards per attempt standpoint, etc. Avery Johnson has gotten so much better at the deep ball and these vertical throws and hitting guys. And so that has ultimately led to Jace Brown now number 3 nationally, Curry, with 9 plays from scrimmage of 30 yards or more. And last year he ranked 6th in the country with 7 plays of 40 plus yards. And against KU now, 13 receptions for 354 yards in 3 games in his career. 10 of those 13 receptions have gone over 20 yards. He's averaging 27.2 yards per catch against the Jayhawks in his career. All right. First 2 plays, very positive. We got to show you one where there was a miss, and the broadcast on TNT did a nice job pointing this out right after this play, Curry. Kansas State here is up 21-7 in the second quarter, and a real chance to put their foot on the throat of KU. End up punting on this drive. This play results in a 5-yard loss, but as the broadcast pointed out, and you can see here, Jerron Tibbs pops wide open on this second down play for what should have been an easy touchdown. K-State just does not see it. Avery Johnson misses this one, and the result is ultimately a punt.
Yeah, and this is, this is something I missed initially, but I know DY pointed it out from the jump, because you're right. This was an opportunity for us to really put this game probably away early, but if not put it into some serious doubt. We hadn't been stopped yet on offense, and we were, had gotten some positive yardage play so far on this series. Yeah, this is just a miss, right? And to be honest, I can understand where Avery's head is at here, because he's not thinking that his post route is going to be uncovered, and because it's just a straight bust by KU, and I think that's partially because of play design. You can see that the motion of Joe Jackson takes a lot of attention in the defense. But then also you can see that you see Garrett, I think it's Garrett Oakley at the tight end position to the boundary. A little bit of a delayed route there, going to be running an outside seam or a wheel route, whatever you want to call it. That's a play we've had a lot of success on over the last couple of years with our tight end group. And so I think it's something that the defense had scouted, and you can see that safety. I don't think he's maybe so much going with Joe. I think he's thinking, oh no, I got to guard this outside wheel route to the tight end. And he leaves Jerron Tibbs wide open. So I can understand why Avery comes off of it, because he doesn't think he's going to run naked, but you got, I think got to keep your eyes downfield and got to make this throw, because it's a layup. So unfortunate that it was missed. I can understand why it was missed, but the hope would be that you're able to connect on that and make another big play.
Yeah, and look, we saw Jalen Daniels, who had been sixth in the country in passer rating going into this game. He missed multiple throws downfield too, and like you sometimes just don't see the whole field. And one miss, but otherwise Avery Johnson really good in this game. All right, next one.
And again, Jerron is in a lot of ways just he's just a decoy. Yeah. And the way that's intended to be set up and guarded, he's a decoy. And so again, I understand why Avery came off of it. Sure, you'd love to see him hit it, but can totally understand why he came off of it and threw the check down.
Yeah. Well, this next play is a really nice play by Avery Johnson here. He uses his feet to get out of the pocket, evade pressure, keeps his eyes downfield, and finds Jace Brown at the 1 yard line. K-State's up 21-14 at this point, sets him up at the goal line. They score on the very next play with Devon Rice. You can see Jace pop open. Makes a nice play on the ball to hold on to it here as the defender comes in and hits him. But just really like to see Avery Johnson roll out to his right here, keep his eyes downfield, and to find Jace Brown.
Yeah, I mean, that's something I think Avery has just improved incredibly at is moving, in the pocket or outside of the pocket, but keeping his eyes up, keeping them downfield. And obviously that sets up a big play here. I think it's Taylor Portier who gets beat, by a bull rush inside. Avery sees that pressure, does a great job of evading it while never letting his eyes come off up from downfield. This is a simple, this is a play that we've run to a lot of success so far this year. It's a 4 vertical scheme essentially. You've got your outside guys both running seam routes, and then you've got Jace running to the backside hash, and Jace does a good job of clearing that hook to curl defender and making himself available. If not for the pressure up the middle into Avery's face, this is another easy touchdown throw, because that safety is way too wide to the field to come over and cover Jace. Fortunately, Avery eludes the pressure and does a good job of still, connecting with Jace before that safety closes. So just good play design, great job attacking what the defense is giving you, and excellent execution by Avery Johnson here. And I guess another thing to point out there, I know the plays off the screen, but, we've talked about, some of our frustrations so far this year with our efforts on scramble drills. And you can see here, Jerron Tibbs, and I'm not sure who's all the way to the field, but you can see the minute that those guys see Avery break the pocket because of the pressure in his face, both of them turn and start working. And if Jace isn't open, both of those guys are going to be open on their comeback routes, finding work in the scramble drill. So I just wanted to give a shout out to those guys. Again, scramble drill hasn't always been excellent this year, but this is an example of guys working with the quarterback and giving him a target to throw to. So I just wanted to call that out as well.
Well, and I think the other thing to call out, Curry, is like we talked about Avery Johnson using his legs to be a threat to run and how he's done that more in recent games. Look at the KU defenders all suck up when he gets out of the pocket. There's multiple defenders that run up thinking he's going to scramble. He made the right decision to throw it downfield, not only because Jace was wide open, because there was nowhere to run at that point. It was a second down play. So, and also, folks, apologize that the video is a little grainy. It was raining. Obviously, the camera's got a little moisture on it. So, if you're having trouble watching it, I'm sorry. But we're going to go ahead. Yeah. A miserable day in terms of weather, but a great day if you're a Kansas State fan. We're going to throw to a break. Before we do, calling all Chiefs fans, you could be on the field at the 50 inside GEHA field for the official coin toss at a Chiefs home game this season. Visit Chiefs.com/GEHA now. Enter to win for a chance to be on the field for a once-in-a-lifetime view of the pregame coin toss. Plus, you can score other exclusive prizes. Enter for a chance to win at Chiefs.com/GEHA. GEHA is the proud partner of the Kansas City Chiefs.
My name is Terrell Jolly. A lot of people call me TJ, founder and CEO of Integrity Capital Management. So Integrity Capital Management originally started out as a property management firm, but we slowly transitioned into what is described as an incremental development firm that's focused on situational housing. I know most people say affordable, but we believe in creating housing for people that are actually in need and built to the end user. I believe everyone needs a home because when you have home, you have hope. The reality is that when you're building a business, one thing you don't think about is like what a true banking relationship means. And, I had the honor and privilege of meeting Debbie early on in my career when I was just trying to get going. And as a small business, it's really challenging at times because people don't understand the concept or not believe the longevity because you're just getting started. But Debbie was willing to take a chance on me, be patient with me. I almost look at it like a grassroots initiative. She's seen and believe what I'm about. Anybody that's really true about their business and want to get some things done, I would definitely trust hands down Emprise, because Deb's team, along with Aaron and Jackie and all the amazing people that work behind the scenes, even from the treasury side, I would say, hey, give them an opportunity, because you won't be disappointed and you will actually be in hands that actually somebody care and that will see you from start to finish.
All right, we're back to go through some more plays here. We're still with the offense. We will get to the defense, folks. This one, real quick, Curry, this is just the very first play offensively for Kansas State in the game. And again, here's Jace Brown just burning his defender and gets a PI. I think I actually called defensive holding here as a result. But if they don't grab him, Jace Brown has an 80-yard touchdown here right on the first offensive play of the game.
Mm-hmm. And again, I mean, not unlike what we saw on the last play on the play right after KU kicked their field goal for the last points of the football game. I mean, you're getting a single high safety look, and that safety's way inside. I can't really tell based on how that corner's playing this if you're getting a man or a zone look because he's inside leverage and his eyes are inside. But I think for all intents and purposes, it is a man look. And again, good job identifying that. And great job taking a shot. I mean, what you see here is you see a corner whose eyes probably shouldn't be in the backfield, but they are. And he sees Avery wind up to throw, and he's thinking hitch route, and Jace just runs right past him. So again, it's great recognition. It's a great job by Avery and Jace being on the same page here. And honestly, it's a great job by that corner because he understands that he's screwed up and he's burnt. He does a good job of putting his hands on the receiver and preventing a massive play to start the football game here. So it's good recognition saying, okay, we're getting a single coverage look on the outside against our best receiver, our best offensive weapon. Let's throw it to him. And they found a corner getting his eyes inside, and fortunately for the corner and for KU's defense, he was able to grab Jace and prevent a big touchdown.
Yeah. All right, this next play, Jace Brown again. He had 4 for 160 in this game. This is the first drive of the game that sets K-State up at the KU 5-yard line here. 35-yard completion to Jace Brown, middle of the field. He just makes a play again.
Yeah, and again, it's the play that we've seen us have a lot of success on so far this year. It's a 4 vertical scheme. You've got to the outside, you've kind of got a deep comeback of some sort, which is common option on a 4 vertical scheme. But you see, Jace does a good job of attacking the leverage of that safety, getting across his face and giving Avery a good window to throw to here. I guess the one thing I don't like so much about this play is that Garrett Oakley ends up in the same spot as Jace and almost prevents a big play here. And so want to see your guy to the boundary running the inside seam, keep his inside seam a little bit tighter, so that you're not, jeopardizing a big play being given up. So, but excellent job here again. It's just, Jace Brown is just in his zone right now. And if you're giving him a look that he likes or that he and Avery like, then it's over with for all intents and purposes. And so just love to see them continue to push the ball down the field to Jason in a vertical scheme.
Yep. All right, Nick, what do we got next? 4th and 1 here, Curry. The K-State converts. This is a big point in the game. They empty out the backfield. There was a lot of pre-snap motion that we don't have here on the footage, but they motion multiple guys out pre-snap. Then they motion Joe Jackson on the jet action, go empty here. You can see they get Bengali Kamara to motion out too, so there's no linebackers really in the middle of the field. Avery Johnson does a nice job of getting upfield, picking up the 4th and 1 conversion. But I would also shout out, Curry, that on the play before this, it was about a 3rd and 4, 3rd and 3.5. They knew it was 4 down territory. they ran a QB run with Avery Johnson on that play. There really wasn't much there. Avery did put his shoulder down, and he fought for an extra yard and a half. They got them in a 4th and 1 versus a 4th and 2, 4th and 2.5. So a nice job by Avery Johnson here using his legs.
Yeah, and you're exactly right. I mean, he showed us on this particular drive or this sequence some real toughness and some urgency running the football that I know we've been looking for at different times this year. I like the play design here. You've got Joe Jackson out in slot. You run Devon Rice in motion, which draws the attention of multiple defenders, including Kamara, who bounces out wide a little bit and gives little respect to that potential screen route or smoke route. And then it's a good job of running a little bit of a counter with Will. I think that's Will Swanson who runs to the backside. Again, giving the defense a look that maybe Avery's going to come back and run a little bit of a counter. So I like that play. And then it's excellent urgency by Avery Johnson. He catches that football and he says, I'm putting my foot in the ground. I'm getting downhill as fast as I can and making sure I get this yardage. Devin Vass makes a really good seal block on the edge. He gets beat a little bit inside, but gets enough of that guy to wash him by. And love the finish by Avery, right? Not only the urgency, but love that he's diving forward and getting extra yardage to make dang sure that he's getting past that line to gain. Because I know we had that issue against TCU where he's sliding deep burst short of the line to gain. He obviously learned from that. Love the urgency here and love the execution. Love the play design. This is a great 4th and 1 call. And keep in mind, this is one of the biggest moments of the football game at this point. If we don't convert there, KU's got the football. I believe they're only down 7 at that point, right?
Right.
Early on in the second half. And so this was a big moment. We go down and score and KU was never able to get it back to a 1-possession football game. So excellent execution, excellent toughness and urgency by Avery Johnson.
Yep. Completely agree. All right. Hey, our guy Jace Brown back again here. And this is a 20-yard route, 20-yard completion to Jace where they get him schemed up wide open on what kind of a wheel concept here, Curry. But what do you see?
Yeah, I mean, this is just you can call it a 4 vertical scheme with a switch, or you can call it a double post with a wheel. I mean, it looks more like a double post with a wheel, but you see, there's a lot of action going on and they're just outnumbered. JB Bradley and Jerron Tibbs do a great job of running some urgent post routes and grabbing the eyes of those 2 outside defenders. And then they've just got nobody else unless that flat defender runs with Jace Brown. And so this is just excellent play design. It's understanding what the type of coverage we're getting. It's guys running routes with urgency, even if they know they're not getting the football. And it's just good execution. And I think what I really like the most is you see Jace's football IQ here. He sees that, okay, I've got 3 defenders over the top of me running with those 2 post routes. I can't keep this thing cruising down the sideline or I'm going to cover myself up. He chokes it down in the window, gives his QB a great target to throw to, and makes a big play. I guess the only thing I didn't so much love here was the going straight horizontal for about 15 yards after the catch and running the risk of a chase of a pursuing linebacker punching the ball out. So would love to see, and also, don't take a hit if you don't have to. Would love to see Jace just get down or get out of bounds here, though I appreciate that he's always trying to make a big play. But this is excellent design, excellent execution, great intelligence here by Jace Brown.
Yeah, love that he sits in the hole in the defense there and doesn't keep going, like you said, and run into the coverage. All right, we're going to switch to defense now. And so we'll hit a couple defensive plays and then throw to a break. So, look, Curry, I could have highlighted a ton of defensive plays in this game. There were so many great moments by Kansas State's defense and what they did to Kansas in this game. But here, right out of the gate, is the pick by Daniel Cobbs. Throws behind the receiver. This is a 4th down or 3rd down play, actually, I think. I can't remember if it's 3rd or 4th. I think it's 3rd. And Zayshawn Rich does a nice job as well, hitting the receiver right as the ball is coming in. And Cobbs makes a nice play on the ball and sets K-State up at the KU 40, up 21-14.
Yeah, and I mean, just an excellent job by those 2 guys on the perimeter there. I mean, this really in a lot of ways makes up for a couple of the drop picks earlier, because this is an incredibly athletic pick, an incredibly athletic play by 2 guys. And I think it's a product of, I mean, we're bringing 5 guys on this play. I think it's a product of, as much as anything, Jalen Daniels was, I mean, there's that funny clip of not funny maybe for Sam Darnold, but there's a funny clip when Sam Darnold was a young quarterback for the New York Jets and he was having a horrible day, as he often did for the Jets. And on the sideline, he was mic'd up and he told somebody he was seeing ghosts. And I think in a lot of ways, the way our defense schemed and executed against KU on Saturday, I think Jalen Daniels was seeing ghosts, and he was uncomfortable in the pocket. He wasn't sure what kind of looks the defense was giving him, and I think forced a lot of had a lot of unforced errors, including multiple other turnover worthy opportunities. And so this is just a good job. We're getting pressure up the field. Jalen understands that he's got to get rid of the football. Simple slant concept. Zayshawn Rich does an excellent job of closing on it. Ball is thrown behind the receiver. I mean, you can't see it here because the video is grainy, but Zayshawn does an excellent job of getting his hand on the football and pushing it up into the air just enough for Daniel Cobbs to come and pluck it out of the air. I mean, just an incredibly athletic play by both of those guys. I mean, Daniel Cobbs is being hit by his own guy at his ankles, and he's able to pluck that football out of the air, stay on his feet, and go get some yards after the catch. I mean, just an excellent job, excellent execution by those two guys, making another turnover for this defense.
K-State held KU to 3.2 yards per play in the game, the lowest mark they held a Big 12 opponent to since 2013, which coincidentally was also KU at 3 yards per play that day. That's a span of 106 games. And if you include FBS opponents and not just Big 12 Curry, the 3.2 yards per play was the second worst in the Lance Leipold era at KU, ties the lowest allowed by a K-State defense over the past 138 games versus an FBS opponent. And the 3.7 yards per pass attempt allowed by K-State was the third lowest mark in the Kleiman era and the fourth lowest allowed by a K-State defense in the last 142 games, dating back to 2013. Jalen Daniels entered the game number 12 in the country at 9.4 yards per pass on the season, averaged 8.7 yards per pass in his college football career, averages under 3.7 yards per pass against K-State, the lowest by a KU team since 2021 at Oklahoma State. A span of 50 games, and it was his worst passer rating over the last 38 games dating back to the pandemic season. So hell of an effort.
I think, shout out to this staff and this defense. I think a couple of things, I think if have led to this serious progression and involvement of this defense. But one, it's just more comfortability with this new scheme. I think it was clear early in the season that some of the explosives we were giving up were probably because guys just weren't comfortable in the new scheme yet. And so kudos to them for getting, for making necessary changes, but also adapting and being creative and doing things like dropping defensive ends in passing situations who keep getting their hands on footballs. But also, I think one of the biggest things, and I think Dez's strip is coming up next, but the rise of Desmond Purnell has been massive for this defense. I know Austin Romaine didn't have his best game on Saturday, but Desmond Purnell the last two games has played better than he ever has in a K-State uniform, and that level of play has allowed this defense to take a couple of significant positive steps. And when you got a guy playing like that in the middle of the football field, it makes a massive difference. And so shout out to the defensive staff and this defense as a whole, but also big kudos to Desmond Purnell for making some massive strides.
Yeah, Joe Klanderman, Chris Kleiman did a hell of a job scheming up and scouting KU, and we'll show you some plays here that indicate that, but also Des Purnell playing like an all Big 12 linebacker right now. Just phenomenal football. All right, so speaking of Des Purnell, Curry mentioned it. This is a fourth down play early on in the game, and Des Purnell comes right up the middle on 4th and 3, 4th and 4 years, strips him, does a nice job. They blitz Romaine and Purnell. They drop Cody Stufflebean into coverage from DN, something that Kansas State did. I think they dropped Ryan Davis too. They dropped the DNs throughout the entirety of the game at a frequent level and blitz the linebackers, and it works here. Purnell gets right through. There's nowhere to go with the football before the pressure gets there, and it's a turnover by Kansas State's defense.
Yeah, and this is, again, it's that creativity that we just mentioned, right? And it's deep, opposing quarterbacks. And we saw it with Josh Hoover, who's one of the best throwing quarterbacks in the Big 12, if not the country. And we saw it with Jalen Daniels on Saturday. They're just not sure what they're ever going to get from this defense when we line 6 guys up on the line of scrimmage. We could drop 3 or 4 of those guys. We could bring all 6. We could drop DNs. They just never know. And it's just causing mass confusion for quarterbacks and for offensive linemen. And so here you see Stufflebean and Davis drop into coverage as our ends did multiple times in the football game. And then a new twist, a new wrinkle to this defensive scheme is that when we drop those defensive ends, we usually run an inside stunt, an inside twist with our 2 linebackers. And you can see here that's, that basically 2 guys go with Austin Romaine. Des does a great job of getting off of an attempted block, and then he's just a free rusher. And then he shows his athleticism by going and closing in on an athletic quarterback in Jalen Daniels. and making him put the ball on the turf, which we knew coming into this football game he was prone to do. So this is a massive football play early in this game. And again, just Desmond Purnell doing things that we maybe haven't seen from him at this level before. So again, big shout out to him.
Yeah, Alcorn Crowder, D-tackle, does a nice job too, drawing 2 offensive linemen out that opens up more of the middle. Again, he's playing phenomenal football too on the defensive line. All right, we're going to throw to one final break, and then we'll break down some more defensive plays when we come back.
Chiefs Kingdom, I have got a question for you. What is your favorite touchdown? Well, for me, I can confidently say that my favorite touchdown, it's the next one, because with DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL, every touchdown could bring you closer to cashing in. From the first touchdown score to anytime touchdown props or the thrill of live in-game betting, every snap is loaded with opportunity. From spreads to money lines, same-game parlays, regular parlays, you want it, DraftKings has got it. Here's the best part. Bet just $5, and if your bet wins, you'll get $200 in bonus bets instantly. I use DraftKings Sportsbook, and you should too. Your team hitting pay dirt pays out to you. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use code KCSN. That's code KCSN to turn $5 into $200 in bonus bets if your bet wins. In partnership with DraftKings, the crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort in Kansas, fees may apply in Illinois. 21 plus age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. Bet must win to receive reward. Minimum minus 500 odds required. Bonus bets expire 7 days after issuance. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/audio.
All right, Nick, ready to roll another defensive play here. Okay, look, this is just, I wanted to put this one in there, Curry, because KU plays with your eyes a lot of misdirection, and they scheme things open. And just look how disciplined K-State is here defensively. There's nowhere for Jalen Daniels to go. Ryan Davis doesn't even bite, really. I know he misses the tackle, but he's trying to keep the edge. And even when Jalen Daniels gets away, there's nowhere for him to throw this football or to run. You got Romaine spying. You got 3 defenders out there to 2 blockers. The team was so disciplined with their eyes in this game.
They were. And again, just massive improvements from what we saw early in the season where eye discipline, eye control was a massive issue. I mean, right, you'd love to see Ryan Davis keep Jalen Daniels on his inside shoulder. So he, doesn't let him outside the pocket here, but he still does a good job of speeding the play up here by getting his hands on the quarterback. And then, shout out to the guys on the outside here. Austin Romaine spying the quarterback does an awesome job preventing him from even thinking that running the football here is an option. And then the play is made by Daniel Cobbs, who continues to make plays when he's in the football game. He's got 2 defenders coming after him, 2 blockers coming after him, and he fights with incredible urgency to get to the outside shoulder of that outside blocker to make sure he's not giving up contain. And despite having 2 blockers on him, still finds a way to get off the blocks and make a play on the receiver and break up the pass. This is teach tape by Daniel Cobbs, and this is an excellent football play. And then it's, you've got, I think it's Wesley Fair and Donnie Mack also stringing this play out over there. Both of them doing an excellent job. If Daniel Cobbs doesn't make this play, one of those 2 guys is making this football play, if not Austin Romaine. This is just teach tape defense by those guys on the edge here. So again, I keep saying it, but shout out to the staff. They've worked with this group to make massive improvements over the course of the last 4 or 5 weeks.
Yeah, the secondary is getting a lot better. Curry, Cobbs playing really good football right now. Donovan McIntosh is a guy that got out of the rotation at one point after being a starter, and he's playing really good football too at corner, and he's got that.
Yeah, Zayshawn has been awesome. I think honestly, since we switched to VJ Payne, back to his more natural position, that's been a huge help. I think Wesley Fair has continued to progress and improve, and then I think Gunnar Maldonado has shown us a little bit more and more each game, and having him back there as a steadying presence because of his experience and his savvy in that defensive secondary. So we've got a lot of quality guys on our secondary. a lot of guys who are making plays for us, but a lot of it starts up front. I mean, with Dez and Austin and the defensive front, including Malcolm Alcorn Crowder, who burst onto the scene, hardly played in the first couple of games, was a reserve at best, and now is our best interior defensive lineman midway through the season. And so, again, another shout out to the staff for development of a player, a guy who through 20 months in the program had given us nothing, and all of a sudden he's our best interior defensive lineman. So love to see that development, that progression.
Let's go on this play here, Curry. Let's go a little rapid fire. Des Purnell almost has his second consecutive pick six in back-to-back weeks. Just an outstanding job reading the route concept here, knowing that they would go to an out on the tight end, and Purnell breaks it up, and then the punt, fumble, touchdown happens on the very next play.
Yeah, and it's, you're dropping 7 guys into coverage. There's only 4 guys out on the route. This is, again, teach tape. Look at how patient all of our guys are with their feet. None of our guys are sped up. All of our guys are very comfortable, very patient. And look at Dez, just very patient, waits for that tight end to get to the top of his route and breaks, very quick, very athletic break on the football here. If Dez catches his football, and I know he'd love to have a chance to have it back, then it's back-to-back weeks for Desmond Purnell of getting into the end zone on a pick six. And so this is just excellent work by Des Purnell and the back end as a whole.
Yep, nowhere to go with the football. All right, next play, Ryan Davis. We mentioned dropping the DNs into coverage. They did this all game. Look at Ryan Davis right here. You speak of how poor Jalen Daniels' numbers look like, and you mentioned it on the live post-game, Curry, but if K-State catches a couple of these picks, the numbers are even far worse. It's the worst game of his career as a result if it happens, but Ryan Davis does a nice job dropping here. Should have made the pick, doesn't. He's a DN, so look, that happens. But again, K-State, this is just another area where you said Jalen Daniels seeing ghosts. Like, it really feels like he just couldn't get a read on what K-State was doing schematically.
Yeah, and I think I guess one funny thing is I noticed Ryan Davis posted something on Instagram yesterday, and a bunch of his teammates were in the comments telling him to get on the jugs machine, which is both hilarious and you love to see it, right? Teammates giving each other a hard time for making a play but not making the best available play. But just to show you the level of creativity that our defense is playing with in schemes here. Earlier we showed you that in a similar setup where we've got 6 guys on the line of scrimmage and we're dropping both defensive ends and rushing both linebackers. Here you're showing that same look. You're dropping Desmond Purnell out and you're only dropping one defensive end out. So you're giving them a little bit of a variation from that prior look, which would easily confuse a guy, I imagine. And then also, we talked about this last week. I believe it was on Dez's pick six, but look at what we do with the back end here. You've got Daniel Cobbs is almost all the way up. He's 6 yards off the line of scrimmage. And then like we did last week on that pick six with Desmond Purnell, we're running Desmond Cobbs to the middle deep third. We're running our high safety to the field third. And then Zayshawn Rich is bailing out to the boundary third. And so the look that we give from a secondary perspective pre-snap is not at all the look that is actually being shown post-snap. And that is just unbelievable work by this staff and by this defense, because what Jalen Daniels is seeing before that ball gets snapped is nothing like what he's seeing post-snap. And that makes it very, very difficult for him. And it's just an excellent job by Ryan Davis. Athletic drop here, getting the proper depth here to where Jalen has nowhere to throw the football, and gives himself an opportunity to get an interception as a defensive end. And again, I'm sure he'd like to have that one back, but just wanted to call out some of that creativity here that Joe Klannerman is putting into play with this defensive unit that's making it really, really hard on some really good quarterbacks.
Yeah, and this next play, Curry, speaks to the scouting that Kansas State did. Look, they run right here, as you can see, the fake option where they run that wheel concept down the sideline to the running back. Curry, I watch Kansas get this play open almost every game. They run it every game down their sideline, okay? Look at what they do here. K-State, Des Purnell goes right with the running back. They get a sack as a result. They get great pressure up the middle. I think Jordan Allen actually gets the sack here, but Des Purnell goes with the running back. Everybody's got, it's not just the running back covered. Look at the secondary. They got everybody covered, and they get a sack as a result. This is just outstanding job scouting and maintaining discipline.
Yeah, you're exactly right. And this is, we saw this time and time again, but this is, we're dropping 6, 7 guys into coverage again. And KU's running, a 1 or 2 man route. I know they got 3 guys going vertical, but this play is designed for that wheel route out of the backfield. And Des does an excellent job of identifying it and picking it up And if Dez doesn't, I mean, VJ Payne's right there too. He sees it and he's happy to go run with it. And so this is just, you can tell this is just excellent preparation. I imagine that our scout team offense ran this play 1,000 times over the last couple of weeks, and our defense kind of just drilled into their head that they're going to run this play once or twice in this football game, and it's going to be a big play if we don't pick it up. And it's just, again, just excellent, execution, excellent preparation by this defensive unit. And then you see, a guy like Jordan Allen, who again, early on in the season wasn't getting a lot of action. The injury to Tobias and Sami has given him and some others an ability to get onto the football field, and he's continued to improve and continue to make plays. And so great job by him going and getting after the quarterback here.
Yeah. Nick, we'll just roll one more here and then we'll put a bow on this show. So we'll go to this next to last play. And again, I show this one, Curry, because again, they drop the DNs. And look here, what they do. They bring the linebackers once again on the blitz. Jordan Allen and Ryan Davis drop into coverage. This is a third down play. This puts KU in a fourth down. They do eventually convert it, but you see how Jordan Allen sells that he's coming on the pressure. And then look, Jordan Allen's eventually the guy that's kind of the spy there that comes in and nearly makes the play. But I think it might be.
It's both your DNs. Both you're dropping DNs, and it's the same play we ran earlier on Dez's strip. You're dropping your DNs, you're twisting your linebackers on the inside. KU's offensive line did a decent job of picking it up, but you could tell Jalen is still not comfortable. It's a fairly clean pocket, but his feet are still dancing around. He's nervous as all get out, and this is one of the benefits of having athletic defensive ends. This maybe doesn't work so much for certain guys, but you see here that guys like Ryan Davis and Jordan Allen, who are athletic individuals, their ability to drop into coverage works. Their ability to make plays while in a more linebacker type position, it works. We've seen it work multiple times over the past couple of weeks, and so excellent job here. But I think also give a massive shout out to Chidi Obiizor, who knows he's got contain on this play, and he's just chewing up 2 blocks, but he's not letting himself get washed out of the football play. I mean, look at him giving these blockers an absolute nightmare. I mean, just bouncing off of them back and forth. I mean, Jalen doesn't know where to run. His running lane keeps changing. Excellent job by Chidi on this play. I mean, again, this defense is just playing with such a high level of execution and such a high level of urgency and attention to detail that they're going to be a problem for any offense that they face at this point.
Well, and then the only thing that Jalen Daniels could have maybe went there to was the crossing route where they had a step on the defender, but Ryan Davis is floating back there as a spy, and he could get his hands on the ball again. So just a beautiful concept. Look, Lance Leipold had won 5 straight games coming off a bye, all in Big 12 play, 5-0 since 2022 coming off a bye. But it was clear at Kansas State and this coaching staff capitalized more on the bye week and scouting KU and preparing. Just incredible work, a really fun day. And let's keep the fun going. 2:30 kick Saturday against Texas Tech. Finally going to have that big game atmosphere in Manhattan. Number 13 ranked team in the country coming in. Kansas State with a chance to get to 4-2 in the Big 12 and continue to ascend as a football team. It's going to be one fun day. Again, see you over at spot 778 on the west side for our Holiday Distillery tailgate. If you can't make it there, also swing by the Wildcat NIL tailgate. Go to catsnil.com, sign up for the membership program. And look, appreciate Nick Springer behind the scenes producing the show. Appreciate Curry Sexton, as always, for all his incredible insights on Kansas State football and this All-22 that we do. Tell your friends about the show if you're not listening. Subscribe to the channel. Appreciate you all. See you Saturday in Manhattan.